Hello there, and welcome to 3Spoonies. We're your hosts, Karen, Jo, and Claire. This is episode number 57.5, and we're discussing cooking while disabled. Let's get in some questions.
Are you drowning in admin? Struggling to keep up with emails, invoices, social media, or the endless to-do list that comes with running a business? Then it's time to call in Vicky Admin Fairy, an award-winning virtual assistant who brings order to admin chaos. Vicky works with all entrepreneurs, regardless of their background or abilities, to take care of the time-consuming tasks that slow you down. Whether it's managing emails, sorting financial admin, handling social media, chasing late payments, the list is endless. She saves business owners hours every week, reducing stress and ensuring everything runs smoothly. With 25 years of experience, a flexible, client-focused approach, and a reputation for going above and beyond, Vicky adapts to your needs, making your business more efficient so you can focus on what you do best. And the best part? You'll have more free time to grow your business, boost profits, or just enjoy life without admin headaches. Want to free up your time and get your business running more smoothly? Visit www.vickyadminfairy.co.uk or email hello@vickyadminfairy.co.uk to find out how Vicky can help you.
Hello, I'm Karen from Pony Pony Pony.
I'm Jo from Bright Cat Business Solutions.
I'm from Strange Little Obsessions.
And together, we're 3Spoonies navigating our way through life and business with not enough spoons. We are joined again by Tiny Chef or Cheffy. Thank you, Cheffy.
I feel the need to burn things.
Jo's going to have PTSD after this.
We're not discussing that for another few episodes.
Nope. We're talking about cooking and that. Claire's got the questions, so I'll pass over to her. Whoosh!
Caught in the whoosh, catching the whoosh. Words. Words escape me today. Most days. But yes, we have some cooking questions. So our first one is from Sonia, and she says, I hate using disposable things, but I find reusable so hard to clean. Is there a good alternative?
I've never found an alternative.
No.
And as much as I hate disposable stuff, I would go for the disposable. Or see if there is stop that. I would see if there is an eco alternative.
Well, that's a good way.
There are some things I've found. They're like freezer pouches. They're made of silicone, so they're reusable, but they haven't got, the corners and the weird edges. You can stand them up to sort of fill them and they don't leak, and then you can sort of seal them like a Ziploc thing, but you do genuinely get quite a few uses out of them. They are sturdier than like one of those IKEA bags, although they are amazing, to be fair. But
As I say, IKEA have some good Ziploc bag, like whatever the things where it presses together and closes.
Yeah, because it's got the two seals on it. I find they're really good and they don't leak. Whereas, some of the ones where you sort of pull the zippy thing across, they're hopeless.
Oh, good. I only recently found them, and I really like them. I was like, oh, Mum sent Dylan home with his food at lunch in one, and I was like, I'm keeping that.
And then finding out where she got it from.
Yeah, it had like on it, so I was like, yes, for the win.
Those silicone cake cases as well, like cupcake cases, are really good, and most of them are easy enough to clean nowadays. When they first came out, they were a nightmare. Like, had some star-shaped ones, and it was impossible to get into the corners and clean them, which gets rid of the point. And I also find they're not too floppy because I've got some full-sized silicone cake tins, and they just flop all over the place with the best will in the world. So even if you do sort of put them on a tray and stuff, I'm always slightly concerned about using them, whereas the cupcake ones are small enough that they kind of keep their shape. And I sometimes use them to put like sauce in as well, if you've got people who like to keep the sauce separate.
Yeah, we've got a silicone muffin tray that I use when I'm doing like breakfast muffins and stuff like that, and they are actually really easy to clean. So that does help a lot.
Yeah, and some of the ice cube trays as well nowadays. Like I've got some with a lid on, so you don't need to worry about them leaking, and there's silicone underneath, so it's easy to sort of pop the ice cubes out, and that's reusable rather than using like the ice cube bags and things, which I always feel a bit bad about using. But they are, because it's not sort of, traditional ice cubes, they're sort of the square corners that you can't
Yeah,
always
your
clean
rigid
very
plastic.
well. They're sort of rounded, so they're easier to pop out and clean, and they're a lot better than they used to be, and they're all right to put in the dishwasher as well. Although sometimes I do weigh things down and put like a casserole dish over if I've got, lids and things. But yeah, I definitely recommend these silicone freezer bag things. Possibly not the first ones, because some of them were extortionate. They were like 20 quid each. And I'm like, I'm sure I'll get a lot of use out of them, but 20 quid for one freezer bag is a
It's
lot.
a lot.
There are some more reasonably priced ones that do still stand up, which is the big thing for me. I don't have to worry about them flopping all over the place. And they don't take up as much room as sort of an ice cream tub or stuff, which you're probably not necessarily going to fill.
Yes, that's some good answers for that. It is hard with disposable stuff sometimes, but hopefully we've given you some good alternatives. So our next question is from Beck, who says, I find food planning is the most tiring bit. Is there a quick way to do this?
I mean, yeah, eat the same thing all the time, but that's probably not what you mean.
So we meal plan what we're going to have for the week, roughly, more because of budgeting on the shopping side of it. And when we had to really budget the other year, it was kind of like, okay, what can we have as our base thing, but mix up the ingredients so it brings up different meals? So you can always keep your base kind of stuff the same, but then get various different meals out of it. That is quite a quick way to do it, because then you're always kind of having basic bits the same, but you can really vary it up and make things different. You can
It could also
stick
be
to
a
some
job.
stuff you like.
Yeah, it could also be a job for AI. Put in what you like, what you've got. What can I make?
Well, a lot of the supermarket sites now will allow you to create lists. So it might be, this is the stuff I get most weeks, and then you just add extra bits. Or you can put in things for recipes. So it's like, this week I'm having this, so I want my spagbowl list and this and this. Or there's what's it called now? It used to be called Lollipop. If you search for Lollipop, it'll probably come up. But that lets you pick recipes, and then it will link with various shopping websites, so you can buy the stuff for that, which has the advantage that it then combines them. So if you're using like half an onion here and half an onion there, it'll be like, right, you buy one onion, which, can be significant if you're having, say, lots of things with tomatoes in or something like that. So those can be useful if you do have the energy to cook from scratch, or if you have dietary requirements that mean you need to be quite careful and monitor all your ingredients, which, again, can be a thing. Or places can change the recipes, which, Branston Beans started putting onions in it. It's a very sad day for me.
Did you do that?
That they stopped. They stopped.
They stopped.
I'm sure to bulk it up.
But it's there are things out there that can work for you. Or sometimes, if you prefer something old school and tactile, the cards you can get for revision and things?
Yeah.
I've got a little folder with recipe cards on, and then I can sort of take them out, the ones I'm interested in, and say, right, this week we're having and put them in front of me so I can see them. If you prefer that, that's also an option, although then you do have the work of sort of adding together all the ingredients and what you need. But we've got hold some blank dice and wrote different food on them for those days when you're like, I don't know what I want. So then you can roll it, and it's like, right, we're having this thing. And, sometimes you don't want that thing, but seeing the option makes you go, oh, actually, I don't want that. I'd rather have this.
Yeah.
So if it's the decision making that's hard, or you can get online dice rollers. If you've got, say, 20 meals you often have, right, we're having number 3, that's...
Spag bowl.
Yeah, spagbowl. Because my brain clearly won't come up with things at the moment.
I can't think of meals.
So it takes a bit of work to get your initial list or stuff, but then you can just put it together and say, right, we're having meal 1, 5, 7, and 14. Let's click those lists. Right, that will then get delivered to me.
Perfect. And then our last question is from Stefan, who says, I lost my sense of smell and taste with long COVID, and I'm always paranoid I will poison people because of something I didn't notice. How can I check things are safe?
Ooh, that is...
Is that a temperature thing? Because in that case, get a proby thermometer thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really hard one because I wouldn't even know how to answer that if I lost my sense of taste or smell.
No, it's like cooking things, like particularly anything that needs to be a certain temperature, get a temperature probe. But things like that might be out of date, but it might be okay. I'm not sure I could do that without a sense of smell. I mean, milk always smells off to me.
Yeah, I'm definitely oversensitive with milk, like 3 days before or so. I'll be like, oh, no.
No, I don't like it, therefore it smells off.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, no, I get that, yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot you use your sense of smell that you don't realise. Like, when your food smells like hot food smells like, there's definitely an element of that, which... Yeah, it's I think definitely temperature probe though, because I'm a veggie and I've not eaten meat since I was like 11 or something. If I ever do have to cook meat, I'm really paranoid about it and tend to overcook it because I don't want to poison people. So I get that sort of anxiety with it. And yeah, I suppose in terms of ingredients, just abide by the sort of...
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, buy full
advice.
dates, and if you can, if there's somebody else with you, ask them.
that's what I was about to say. If there's someone, yes, it may be a pain to have to ask all the time, but it could be worth doing.
Yeah, well, especially if you're going to end up throwing a load of stuff away because you're not sure. That and sort of labelling things, if you keep some sort of Sharpies or whatever in the kitchen, so you can say, right, I opened this on Monday. So, if you've got leftovers or, those things, like if you've got a big pot of yogurt or whatever, yeah, if you're not sure, sort of label it, I opened it on this day, and probably err on the side of caution, really.
Yeah, that's probably the best idea.
I think that is all of our answers then for that. So I think we've done well there. That last one was definitely a hard one.
Yeah.
We hope we've helped. So, Karen, I will pass the whoosh back to you.
Whoosh! Thank you very much for the whoosh. Oh, what a happy day. And thank you again to Cheffy for joining us. Thank you for joining us for 3Spoonies on Cooking While Disabled. We'd love to know your thoughts in the comments, any questions you have, and also any helpful things that you found that you might be able to share. Please subscribe for our weekly podcast and leave us a lovely review. You can also buy us a coffee if you like what we do. Links, as ever, will be in the show notes, so have a look to see if there's anything useful there. We'll see you next week for our next topic, accessible website design. Have a great day and keep track of your spoons.